All right, we have quite a few people who have joined us. Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on introducing BrowserStack Test Management, the modern and unified way to manage test cases. First of all, quick introduction. I'm Supratim, working as a product marketing manager at BrowserStack, and I will be the speaker and moderator for this session. Today, we have with us Ankur as well. Ankur, do you want to quickly introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, sure, Suptam. I think so. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, to folks who are joining from different parts of the world. And my name is Ankur Kumar, and I'm the senior manager product at BrowserStack. And I'm leading the end-to-end development of BrowserStack Test Management product. It's currently in beta, and we are very excited to talk about it today.
Awesome. Thanks, Ankur. A couple of housekeeping items before we get started. Today's session will run for around 60 minutes. The session is being recorded, and the recording will be made available to all the attendees. All the participants will be muted so that speakers can present without any interruptions. We will have a dedicated 15 minutes of Q&A at the end. Please use the Zoom QA window at the bottom and send in your question throughout the session, and we'll pick those questions up towards the end. Today, we have quite a few exciting things to discuss. So in the agenda, we'll start with the importance of test management. We will discuss some of the challenges which we see in the test management space. Then we will be introducing BrowserStack Test Management, discuss some of its benefits and features. Then we'll have a live demo and followed by a Q&A. Before we get started with the webinar, we have a poll for all of you. Can we have the poll up, please? We basically want to understand how you are currently managing your test cases. On the screen, you will see close to 10 options. We have listed down some of the options for all of you. It will be great if you could respond to this poll. It will help us understand how you are currently managing your test cases. This poll will be live for the next couple of seconds. Please do go through all the options and select the best possible option for you. All right. Thank you for responding to the poll question. We'll begin with the webinar now. We just saw in the previous poll question, right, some of the options through which you have already implemented test management somewhere or the other, right? And test management, in short, plays a very important role in accelerating the release cycle. So here on the screen, you see how test management cut across the entire release cycle and its significance, starting from planning to development, testing, building, release, and monitoring. Say, for example, in the planning phase, it helps you define the release requirement, create development, and the testing plan. In the development phase, where we need to have seamless collaboration between the testers and the developers, test management lets you do that. Thirdly, the testing phase, which is the most vital phase where test management plays a very important role, providing you a single standardized platform where you can manage all your test cases at one single place. Then under build, it lets you integrate with various build tools, CI/CD tools to manage your test environment and automate your test execution. And then we have the release phase, where if you need to assess the overall quality of and the readiness of the software that you are going to release, test management lets you do that. And lastly, we have the monitor phase, where test management lets you track the progress of your entire testing cycle. So that's where the significance of test management is there in the entire release cycle. Now, having mentioned some of the important pointers, like how test management is important, we have also seen there are some challenges or limitation in the entire test management space, right? And let's go through each one of them. First, focusing on the end user experience. We have seen some of the traditional solutions which some of the folks use, say the CSVs or the Notepad or the Confluence, they typically cannot scale up as your application becomes more complex and test scenarios increase. Often there is a lot of manual work involved in updating and tracking your test cases and test run, which is eventually very time consuming as well. And there is also slow import of test data. The next limitation that we have seen is the lack of visibility, which is typically we don't get a single unified view of all your manual and automated testing progress in one single platform. There is a lack of real-time insights into your testing progress, and you really cannot analyze what has happened in the past and take, preemptive decisions for your testing. We have seen there are quite a few complex workflows in the entire test management space, especially if you take the example of Jira, which is one of the widely used project management tools. I'm sure a lot of you folks might be using it for your testing related activities. We've often seen the Jira tool does not talk to the test management solution, and there is no two-way communication happening. There is also incompatibility with a lot of test automation frameworks. And lastly, limited integration. What we have seen is a lot of test management solution may not integrate with the other solutions which are provided by the testing platform, and as a result, user end up switching and toggling between multiple tools, right? Now, addressing these challenges and these gaps that we have seen in the market, BrowserStack has built this modern way of managing your test cases, an all-in-one test management solution. Quickly going through the values delivered and some of the key features for test management. So the first value that test management really helps you deliver is it lets you create test cases and test runs at a lightning speed. You can get complete visibility into your testing progress across your manual and automation testing. And thirdly, it helps you improve the complete traceability through supercharged workflows, be it the integration with Jira or any other tools. It really lets you track the entire testing progress. Now, coming to some of the key features of the product. Firstly, test management provides a centralized test case repository through which you can create, manage, and track all your test cases, well organized, through folders and tags. We have a very easy and quick way to import your testing data. So whether you have your existing testing data on CSV files or you are using any other tool, we have APIs for that. We have a powerful Jira app with the two-way binding. So basically through this, you can achieve better traceability by tracking your test cases and test run, and any changes which you do on Jira gets reflected on test management and vice versa. You can easily manage your manual and automated test runs. And for managing your automated test run, we have two ways. Either you can do it through test observability or through JUnit XML or BDD JSON reports. Test management also provides hassle-free integration with various automation frameworks and CI/CD tools, and it almost integrates seamlessly with other BrowserStack products like test observability. And lastly, we have rich dashboards, which provides you real-time insights on the, how your QA is progressing, right? So these were the very high-level features about test management, and now it's a time to see these features in action. So over to you, Ankur, for the live demo.
Thank you so much, Supratim. I think you've made my job quite easy. Let me share my screen. All right, so while we get started with the demo, feel free to ask any questions in the chat below, and we'd love to address them one by one. So I think this is a login for BrowserStack Test Management. Once you sign up with your existing BrowserStack account, if you're already an existing user, you can just sign in. If you are new to BrowserStack, you can sign up afresh. And once you sign in on this URL, test-management.browserstack.com, you'll be seeing an onboarding page, which will ask you some basic questions around your profile. What is the current test management tool if you're using one, right? And we give you two onboarding options so that it's easy for you to get started with your test management journey on BrowserStack, right? So first option is like quick import. If you're using tools like TestRail, Scale, we let you import data from APIs provided by these platforms. Alternatively, if you're using some other tool or you want to start from scratch, you can also start from scratch as the second option. So for this demo, I'll just start with quick import flow and click on continue. So as soon as you click on continue, you see the entire product unveiling for you. On the left hand side, we have options for dashboards, test cases, and test runs. On the right, I see the option of doing quick import from test trail and Zephyr scale. I'll come back to these options in a while as we explore the product deeper. Let's say I want to import my test cases from test trail. I click on test trail here, and uh, I have to just enter the basic credentials of my test trail account, which will help me fetch the test case data. So I have some credentials right now ready for reference. I'll just fill them in. Right. So that's the first is email address, second is host name, and the last one is test trail API key. And these credentials you can also access through a help link that we have given here. And it actually takes you to the exact page where you can find these API keys. Right. So I move forward and first test my connection to see if the connection is successful. It looks like it is. So I move forward and click on proceed. Now what it does is it in real time, it fetches all the projects that are present in my test trail account. Right. So I have these projects that are available for import in real time. So for this demo, let me just click automate testing project and click on begin import. And I'm done. Like, so this test, the quick import progress has begun, and this will take a while for us to get all the test cases. In the meantime, I can go ahead and explore the product for you. So I can click on create project if I want to start from scratch. And let's say I want to name my project as live web testing project. I can give a description of the project as well. Click on project. And now I'm inside project view, where a project is an entity where you can store your test cases, create test runs, check dashboards, and do your entire test management at a project level, right? So this dashboard is right, this project is right now empty, so I can go ahead and create folders. So let's say I want to have some test cases for my login flow. So I create a login folder. I can create multiple other folders. Right. Now in these folders, I can go ahead and create test cases either like one by one. I can create these test cases through a quick add flow. Right. Or I can also go ahead and create a detailed test case through my test case form. Right. This is the form that we have for creating a detailed test case. It's a rich form which helps you create a detailed test case. Right. I can choose the template of the test case, text or steps. I can write a description of the test case, provide steps for my template, add multiple steps for my test case, define some other parameters like what is the type of this test case. Let's say it's a functional test case, automation status of the test case, right? Let's say it's not automated as of now, priority of the test case, state. If it's a raw test case, I would want to like probably assign it a draft status. Who's the owner of the test case? Assign tags, right? I can go ahead and assign quickly tags. I can also attach Jira issues. So I click on this and I can set up my Jira account, and I'll talk about this in a while, how to go about linking your Jira issues. I can also define some preconditions, right? And attachments, if at all there are any. So I click on create case and my test case got created, right? So I can quickly click on the test case and see the detailed data point that I just now built for you. I think our quick import that we just triggered a while back, it got completed. As you can see, the intimation on the left hand side, it shows 100% completed. And I see one project successfully got imported from test trail. And I see an indication also that this has come from test trail. I click on this and you can see like on the right hand side, I have 40 test cases and 0 test runs for this project that got imported from test trail. I go inside this project to see what kind of data I've got. I have the list of all the folders from my test trail project showing up over here. And I can drill down and check what those test cases are. As you can also see that we retain the test case ID that test trail natively offers, and likewise for other tools as well, like Zephyr Scale, we retain the original test case ID that comes from the platform. I can go inside and check the data of the test case that got imported. And you can see there are attachments also that have come in. These are the attachments that came in from my test case as well. I have all the other data points like the owner, template, type of test case, automation status, steps, result, everything like seamlessly imported within minutes for me, right? Alternatively, if I can also import my test cases through CSV file, so I have import via CSV option. I can upload a CSV file. I have a sample test case file for you, which I've just uploaded right now. I can click on proceed. Uh, Let me open the file as well, just to give quick understanding of how the, yeah. So this is my CSV file. It has test case ID, title. It has folder structure, state, tags, steps, results, some other columns like type of test case, priority, owner, Jira issues. It also has some custom feeds like last owner and platform. And I will just see how in minutes they also get imported in the platform. Right. So I click on proceed here. And CSV import that we have built is quite intelligent and smart. You see, there's an automatic mapping that happens of the system fields and the incoming fields from your CSV file. So on the left hand side, I have the incoming field, and on the right hand side is where it is getting mapped to, right? So I see platform is an incoming field. It's actually a custom field that will get generated and automatically be created as a test case attribute. While other fields are part of a system, so they get automatically mapped to a system field. Right? Likewise for last owner. If I'm not happy with any of the mappings, I can go ahead and quickly edit the mapping. Let's say in case of tags, I want to probably, these are the tags that are coming from my CSV file, and I don't want some of the tags values to be read. I can drop those values, right? Click on save. Likewise for state, I have these states that are getting automatically mapped. If there are some incoming state of a test case, let's say retired or obsolete, and those are the values, let's say the system does not have, automatically those values will be created as custom values for my test cases in this project, right? So that's it. I click on proceed, and I can get a preview of what data I'm importing. If there's any change that I want to make in my import, I can go ahead and do that in the previous flows. Likewise, I just can go ahead and complete my import right now. So as you can see, like the entire data from the CSV file got imported within seconds. And these are the test cases that are showing up for my CSV file, right? So yeah, I think so. Having said this, I can quickly jump to my other account, which I have set up for this demo, and where we can go over the Jira integration, the test runs flow, and the dashboards, right? So this is all projects page where I have a list of all the projects that exist in my account. I can go over this live web testing project that exists in this account, and I can go over and create. Let me first go to the test cases and show you some of the other functionalities that you can do for your test cases. So I can go ahead and search test cases on the basis of any keyword. I can go ahead and filter the test cases on the basis of owner, tags, priority, right? Right. So this is a basic search and filter flow. I can quickly go back to my repository and go to test runs now, right? So yeah, just one more thing which I just want to emphasize, like we have bulk edit and bulk delete kind of operations, wherein if I want to quickly update attributes of my multiple test cases, I can change the priority, I can change the type of test case, I can change the automation status, I can set the different priority level altogether, and click on update all. Right, so both these test cases got their priority updated, and some other attributes also can quickly be changed. I go to test runs now, so we can create manual runs and automated runs, and our objective and vision is to unify manual and automated testing in an efficient way, so that QA leads, QA managers, QA directors are able to get meaningful insight from all these runs. Right, so I have some previous test runs that are showing up over here. I'll go, and if there are runs that are already closed, they will show up in the closed runs tab. I'll go ahead and create a test run right now, and by default, like it shows 0 test cases. I can go ahead and select some of the test cases from this folder, right? And I click on create run. Okay, so this is the manual run that is created here for me, and I can go inside this run. So I get to see that these are what are the count of test cases, who is this test assigned to, and what is the overall progress. So right now it shows 0% progress. I go inside this test case and I can do a bulk assign operation of, assigning the result for these test cases. So I click on add result, assign, pass to the test case that I know that are passing. And there are certain test cases, let's say they are not up to the mark and they are right now in a failed state. So I can go ahead and mark them with a failed state. I can go inside, and as I do this, I see my overall progress of test run changing. And right now it is 100% progressed, but right now it shows in the failed state because of the two failing test cases. Right? I can go inside my test case and file defects and I can of course see results for previous runs. Let's say there is a repeated failure for this test execution. I can log a new result altogether. If I want to file defects, I can go ahead and file defect as well. So I can, so my Jira account is right now integrated, so it shows up with the Jira account details, and the issue ID is something that I can easily either type here or I can go ahead and create a new Jira issue. So I click on link issue and click on add result, right? And my result is logged and I have one issue which is showing up over here, right? So to integrate Jira, there is a straightforward approach of going to the settings page and set up your Jira integration from this flow, and it's a straightforward flow. It should be a matter of few seconds. My account is already linked with a Jira account, so it shows up the account details right now, right? So I go back to my project, and I can see my test run that it has progress. So it shows 19 test cases, and overall 89% test cases have passed and 11% test cases have failed, right? Now I can quickly show you how the automation flows are going to work out. So I think Supritam talked about there are two approaches through which we import results for the CI/CD pipeline. So one is through JUnit XML file import. That's a standard file format or a reporting format which most of the test automation frameworks support, be it like TestNG. We have a complete list of all the frameworks that support this kind of JUnit XML file format. And our documentation page has listed all those frameworks over here. So TestNG, WebDriver IO, Nightwatch, Appium, Cypress. So all these frameworks will support standard JUnit XML format, which you can give to our endpoint. That's the endpoint that we have exposed. All you have to do is just fire this endpoint with the JUnit XML file path, and the result is going to get uploaded in real time. You need basic credentials like API token, project name, test run name, and user email, right? Most of these details are already available in your system, right? I'll go ahead and show you an automation flow. So this is one flow, and I'll come to the test observability flow of pushing automation results as well. I have this GitHub project right now, which is having a functional test case written in TestNG automation framework. And I also have a Jenkins file where I have configured the parameters for my Jenkins environment, which is API token, project name, test run, and user email. And I have the steps of firing the endpoint that I just now talked about, right? I go back and quickly show you also the code which is getting executed in this repository. So I have these functional tests like visit BStack demo. We're trying to go to a website and check the website page title and some other UI elements. So it's more of a functional test that I have as a sample for you. And this particular GitHub repository, I have linked it with my Jenkins job. This is the job, TestNG curl. I will go inside my master branch and build the same project right now for you. So I'll just change the project. I'll just put the API token as well. Okay. Yeah, I click on build. So my build has started running. There's a Jenkins build which has, I think, around 8 test cases. So it should just take a few seconds to run. Meanwhile, let me quickly come to the test runs flow and talk about some of the other features of the test runs. I have on the right hand side, as you can see, this is okay. Let the test run complete. I think we'll just wait for a while. Right, so I have some historical execution that have happened earlier, and like this is the log that is getting generated in real time from my execution. Right. I think in the meantime, I'll quickly talk about my Jira issue integration with test case level. So all these test cases that are showing up over here, we can go ahead and link these to the Jira environment. I have link to Jira option that is coming up over here. So I can enter my Jira issue ID and link this issue with the test case at a requirement level. I can quickly jump to my Jira app from here. And this is the two-way Jira binding that we support. And we have a full-fledged Jira app that is available for download from Atlassian Marketplace. This is the Atlassian Marketplace where BrowserStack integration of Jira exists. Right? And once you download this app, you will be able to see a BrowserStack link over here on your Jira story. And I have this Jira story which is representing a particular requirement. In this case, it is a revamped sign-up flow for BrowserStack website. And we have a provision of linking test cases and test runs in the Jira app. You know? Now, the issue that I just now, the test case that I just now linked, log into BStack demo, I can just go ahead and refresh. I think it's already showing up over here, TC1743. Now I can quickly jump from my Jira story back to the test cases as well. So there is a strong two-way Jira binding that we support from test management to Jira and from Jira to test management. And from here, I can go back to the Jira story anyway. So for all these test cases, I can see the priority of these test cases. What is the last run status? And what is the last run ID? I can go ahead and toggle and change the status to a different value and see the historical results showing up in the historical log, right? And I can also jump back to the test run from which the result was logged. So from here, I can go to that specific test run and check the details of that test execution. From test run, if I want to go back to Jira, I can go to issues tab and go to my test run as well. Right. So this is a different Jira story that I'm talking about. This test run is not linked with this Jira story. That's why it's not showing up over here. I have other test runs that are showing up over here. I can expand my test run section and see the test cases that are passed or failed in that test run. And in real time scenario, you might require multiple test runs to be linked with your Jira story before you see 100% success result from your runs. Right? So this helps you get a good traceability of where your test cases stand and how stable is your Jira story from release perspective. Right. So this is like the end-to-end Jira integration support that we have built. And there are many more enhancements that are going to come in future. You'll be able to create test cases and test runs from the Jira story itself. Right now, you can link it in the test management tool and then see them showing up over here. Now, our Jenkins job, I think, should have been completed by now. So I will go and check my logs. Just 1 second. Yeah, so this Jenkins job got completed, and I see a test run URL also that got generated. I can quickly jump to my test run from my Jenkins, and these are the 8 tests that got executed in from my GitHub repository. And I see some of them have passed, some of them have failed, and some got skipped. The ones that have failed, I can jump into those test cases and see the stack trace, and they are automatically detected as test cases that are automated. Right? I get an elapsed time also. I get a stack trace of what went wrong, and I can go ahead and find defects as well for these test cases. Right? So now, interestingly, these test cases automatically get stored in my repository in the automation folder. This is the folder that shows up over here, and all these test cases are going to line up automatically for you. Right? So next time when you run your Jenkins job, they are not going to get recreated. They will remain the same. and you'll just see updated results for these test cases in the results tab. Now, having said that, I think it's time to now jump to the dashboards. Okay, yeah, before that, I will also talk about the integration with test observability, which is our sister product, which helps you get detailed debugging insights from your automations. So I have some test runs in my test run list view here, which are powered by observability. And I just now click on test run, and these test runs have come from observability. And I can jump to the observability dashboard from the test run and see at a detail level what went wrong or right with my test executions. So test observability gives you a rich debugging insight and a timeline debugging kind of a feature, which will help automation engineers particularly do a time travel of what happened in the entire journey of test execution. Right? We also get access to see videos and screenshots and the entire all possible sort of logs, network logs, overall logs in the tool here, right? So we do offer deep integration with test observability product, and the execution that you see over here. The execution that you see over here is going to give you that link of traveling to test observability, right? So view more details will take you to a detailed insights of the test execution at a test case level, right? And I think with that, another piece that I want to cover is the test case ID tagging. So these test case IDs that you see here, they can have a representation in your test script. So whenever you write your automation scripts, you can do a clear tagging of these test cases in your test automation code using the test case identifier. Once you do that, even if you move around your test cases in your repository from one folder to another, those test cases are not going to get generated again because we exactly know that this test case identifier is in which location. So we do support it. We plan to support it for all the frameworks. Right now, you see a help or documentation available here for Test Engine, PyTest. We are working on giving you test case ID tagging support for WebDriver IO, Playwright, Appium, Cypress in coming few days. Once you have this test case ID tagging like enabled in the code, your corresponding JUnit.xml file will also pass on the test case ID construct. And when you import this result in your test run flow, you will start seeing the results for that particular text execution in the respective location, right? So the results will show up at the corresponding location, right? I think with that being discussed, let's go quickly to the dashboards. So dashboards is a place where you want to like derive takeaways or in terms of execution of test runs, the defects, what has been the productivity level of your organization, what is the trend of your test cases historically, are they going up, going down? So those are the things that we have built in the first cut of our dashboards, and we are working on enhancing it. So the first dashboard that first chart in my dashboard that I have here is active test runs. This chart tells me what are the total test cases that are right now being tested across all my runs. I see the breakup and distribution of the result status, the passed, failed, skipped, retest. I can jump to my those active runs from here. It's the same view that we have gone over in the earlier part of the demo. So I go over to the dashboard again. On the right, I see what are the sort of how many test runs I have closed in last 12 months, right? What has been the productivity of my organization? Like 22 test cases, 22 test runs got closed in March, and then there's a dip in April. So what is the reason for that dip? Is something that I can like drill down further in future releases and then debug and try to do an RC around the uptrend or downtrend activity of the closed runs, right? Down below, I have results from my closed test runs, particularly for last 15 days. So at a daily level, what has been the activity from my QA team is something I can like track. And eventually we want to give you a granular insight of tracking these metrics at a tester level. So you'll be able to filter it with a particular tester's name and see how many test cases that person or that QA team member passed or failed across the time period, right? Down below, we have a metric to represent automation coverage. It's a very and like it's a bread and butter kind of a metric for all the QA teams out there. And right now, my repository has 39.5% automation coverage. So I again have a clear-cut kind of action item from my dashboard to probably increase it to a certain level for as a quarterly target, right? So total test cases and the automation coverage. Down below, we have type of test cases and the entire distribution in a donut chart. So I have like 31% functional tests, 43% tests are not categorized as of now. So it's a red flag. I should know what kind of tests my team has been adding. 90% regression tests, compatibility 4%, and then rest are lower digit, right? On the right, I can see the trend of these test cases historically for last 12 months. So I can see my total test cases are going up. My manual test cases are also going up. My uncategorized test cases are right now also showing an uptrend. Automated test cases are also going up. But regression test cases are like kind of plateaued. So why are my regression tests not increasing? Something I would want to question as a QA lead. Functional tests and compatibility tests. So this is something. This is again a meaningful insight for teams to take action and fix things in time and do it more proactively rather than doing it reactively. Down below, we have a dashboard to give for Jira defects that got filed for last 12 months. And I can see like there was a spike in activity of defects for March month, and then May and June and July, right? So again, we will build drill down insights from these charts to take you to that particular month or that particular day and to that particular tester to understand and get granular insight, right? Yeah, I think over to you, Supratim. I think this is the end of the demo. Over to you.
Thanks, Ankur. I'm sure this has given a good overview about the product to all our attendees. And before we move on to the next section, just a quick reminder to all our attendees, please do post your questions on the QA chat below. We are loving the energy there. A lot of questions coming in. If you have any queries on our product, this is the time to get those answered by our product expert. And we will be also sharing the link to our product page, a link to our demo, as well as to the documentation page here on the chat. So please do go through them whenever you get some time. So moving on to the next section, we do have quite a few exciting features coming up. Ankur, do you want to walk us through the product roadmap for test management?
Yeah, sure. Supratim, I think I love this slide. This shows the kind of velocity with which we are building this product and the aggressive roadmap that we have ahead. So on the first column, you see things that are already live. Those are the core features that are central to a test management solution, and we do understand the need of those kind of features. So those are already live, like central test case repository, quick import option from test scale and Zephyr scale. We just saw how efficient and smooth quick import is from test trail. Then import from CSV is something, again, we saw it in a demo, how frictionless it is and how you can create your custom fields also through CSV import. We saw also managing manual and automated test runs in a combined dashboard. We have a powerful Jira app that we have built and we demoed to the audience here. Then we have support for importing JUnit XML and BT JSON reports that is live. We have integration with test observability, and we have test case tagging to exactly bind your manual test cases with your test scripts, right? And then we have a CI/CD integration with all these platforms, the popular ones like Jenkins, Bamboo, and dashboards analytics, right? Now, what we are building next is something which is the second column in front of you. So we are letting so some of these are also already live, like bulk update test case result is something. Yeah, bulk update test case result is something that I showed also in the demo. We are letting you attach any attachments in the test results. Right now, that thing is not there. We will be able to select multiple folders in one shot when creating test runs. You will be able to also filter test cases during test run creation, right? So that not every time you might be interested in running your entire suite. So we do understand the requirement for that kind of feature as well. You will be able to define browser device configurations on BrowserStack Test Management so that you can easily identify what browser device configuration this test case ran in the past and how has been the performance, right? You will be able to do role-based access control. I'll have multiple roles like tester role, product user, product admin, read-only role, and restrict how my team is engaging with the test cases or test runs, right? I'll be able to copy test cases from one location to another. I will be able to group test runs under milestones so that I get an overall picture of a particular team at a milestone level, right? We But tracking automation coverage, that's something which has already gone live. We just went live 2 days back. And integration with live is something which is also under the radar. We want you to launch live sessions from BrowserStack Test Management, because we do capture browser device configuration efficiently. So we wanted to make it seamless and frictionless for you to launch your live sessions, and eventually also app live sessions, and let you record results in a seamless manner instead of toggling between multiple windows, right? And so this is the plan for like next 2 months, July, August, and down the line, over the further next 3 months, we have other exciting features that we're working on. Like you will be able to clone test runs and like do a filtered view of a run that has already been performed, and then probably like run only the failed test cases from the previous run, right? Drill down insights from dashboard I already talked about. API support for triggering test runs. We again understand the importance of automation engineers, particularly who are interested in scheduling test runs through APIs, marking test runs automatically through APIs as well. Grouping test cases under test sets so that you can easily refer to certain set of test cases bundled under test sets. Detailed traceability reports from test case test run perspective, specifically for Jira stories, right? So how many Jira stories are open right now, and from those Jira stories, how many test cases are linked, and for those test cases, how many defects are filed. So entire end-to-end traceability report is something which we are working on. We're eventually going to work on. Group test runs under test plans. That's again something which has come from the early feedback that we got from the market. Mark results for individual steps in a test case. Right now, you can mark at a holistic level how your test case has performed, whether it has passed or failed. But we want to eventually give you the control of defining at an individual step level whether the step was passed or it was failing. Right? BD template for test cases is something which is going to come again. It's going to help automation engineers a lot. You'll be able to export and import BDD feature files and kickstart your automation journey. Right? Test case versioning and history. A large number of enterprise clients, or we do understand that need this kind of a feature where they want to track and check what happened historically to that test case when it changed hands, or the priority was changed, or when it was updated, who updated it, things like that, things like those. We will also have support for tracking exploratory sessions, which is becoming a very popular way of doing testing activity these days. A lot of different stakeholders like product managers, software developers, testers, QAs, they come together and do exploratory sessions and try to see how they can improve the product and product quality. So those exploratory sessions will be supported in BrowserStack Test Management going forward. We'll have other sort of integrations like Azure DevOps, Slack notifications post your test run is completed, GitHub link as well, so that you can directly jump into a GitHub repository from your specific test execution, right? And likewise, how we have built a Jira plugin to give you a traceability, we will build a similar kind of plugin for Azure DevOps platform as well. Option to export test cases. Eventually, we understand like there are times like we need to export your test cases and get a offline view of what is happening with your test cases, do sorting, searching, filtering, things like that, and then the list is ended. There are like many more stuff. The important point to note here is that we are heads down working tirelessly on this, and every week there is a release that is happening. Every week we are pushing 2 or 3 features with this test management product, and we are very excited to be talking to you all about this today, and happy to like go over to the Q&A section. Supratim.
Yeah, great. I think this has definitely given a good overview to our audience as in terms of what are the exciting features coming up for the product. Then before we move to the Q&A session, I know there are quite a few questions out there in the chat window. We will raise another poll question. Can we have the poll question up, please? So in case you want to have a customized demo of the test management product, which you just saw, you can respond here. We will keep these poll question live for a couple of more seconds. Even if you are looking at it at a later stage, I would recommend if you could respond it here, and our product experts and our team will get in touch with you and have a customized demo ready for you. All right. I think that's about it. And we are right on time for our Q&A session. I'm just going through all the questions, and
So I think Supati, we can start from the first question onwards, like the one which is not answered.
Yeah. Yeah. So Ankur, we have a question here. It says, I have existing integration between my test infrastructure and X-ray. Would I be able to keep using that while running my test application against BrowserStack environments? Or would I have to migrate that integration over to BrowserStack Test Management?
Sure. So just a second.
I can repeat that question.
Yeah. No, I'm just going over that question once again. Would I be able to keep using that while running my test application against my BrowserStack environments, or would I have to migrate that integration over to BrowserStack? Okay, sure. So I think if you're using X-ray, you would have, I think you would be reading the results from your automation flows in your X-ray console from the automation flows. And if you like decide to continue using X-ray, those integrations will not get impacted. But if you have to use browser test management, you'll have to also import test cases from X-ray to our test management tool. And right now for X-ray, we have not built a direct API support to import test cases, but you can easily import those test cases through CSV import. So once you do that, your entire CI/CD pipeline that you are right now probably integrated with X-ray, the same pipeline, if you integrate with browser test management, the results will start flowing in to the test management offering, right? So it may not be a wise thing to continue using X-ray as well as test management. We would recommend you to switch to us once you have seen faith in the product, and then move forward with an integrated test ops offering where you get to track test cases, launch live sessions, integrate with BrowserStack test observability, and get an end-to-end integrated test ops offering from BrowserStack.
All right. Ankur, the next question that we have is, if you execute an integration with Sapphire Scale by token, are the test cases automatically updated, or is it necessary to perform some manual action to update?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So we have a one-time sync, which happens when you use quick import feature, and any further changes that you would make in the Sapphire Scale test cases will not reflect here in BrowserStack Test Management unless you delete your project and re-import it after a period of time, right? So that likewise, it will not make sense for you to quick import and then continue using test management on two different platforms. We would want you to continue the journey ahead with BrowserStack and kind of do a POC for a week or so, and then see how the platform is performing. And then once you have the faith, you move over to us and to get started with your end-to-end journey of your release tracking, defect tracking, logging test runs, test executions on browser test management. So to answer the question, no, it's not a real-time sync. It's a one-time sync that happens.
Right. The next question we have is, can you assign a test case to run in multiple browsers, or do you have to create a new test case for each browser you need to run the test in?
Sure. I think this question is from Sarah. Yeah. So again, I talked about our roadmap ahead, and ability to create configurations for test cases in a test run is something which is a work in progress. We are very soon going live with this feature. And once we go live with that feature, you will not have to manually create or assign multiple browsers for the test cases. In a test run, you might have 100 test cases, and you can define that I want to run these 100 test cases on, let's say, Chrome Windows and Chrome Safari, Chrome Mac, right? And you will see that there will be instances of those test cases generated across these two browser device combinations automatically for you to log results, right? So this feature is going live very soon.
All right, awesome. So Ankur, the next question is on our two-way Jira binding feature, right? So if a Jira user clicks the BrowserStack link, do they need a BrowserStack account to view the test cases?
Sure, yes, they do. They do need to log into BrowserStack Test Management from the Jira app for them to see test cases. Yes.
All right. Moving on to the next question. Are there any certain types of test cases or connections that have any performance issues or anything to watch with performance when creating test cases or test runs?
No, we haven't seen any such kind of performance issues. And in fact, we want to kind of offer you a very high performance kind of rate request per minute kind of a limit on browser test management. We do understand the need with or the kind of urgency with which you want to push results from your CI/CD pipeline and see those results reflecting in your dashboards to take quick actions. So on the contrary, we want to not have any such kind of performance issues, and in fact, nail down and give you the best performance in importing your results out there in the market.
I think the next question, Ankur, we have is, do any of your test types support test steps such that some test run steps can pass and other steps in the same test run fail, thus pointing out at what step the test run failed?
Yeah, so I think I talked about this as well in the roadmap ahead. That was in the last column. You will be able to mark individual steps within a test case also as passed or failed, and that will give you exact traceability of at which step the test case has failed.
Right. Just going through the other set of questions. Yes, we will be sharing the recording of this webinar with everybody.
Yeah, I see a question something around GitLab CI/CD integration.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we do, yes, we have this in the pipeline. I think this also was there in the slide. I think I talked about GitHub. Maybe GitLab was not there, but GitLab is something which we plan to support. You will be able to jump into your particular code commit from the automation execution, right?
I think another question again on the product roadmap, Ankur, do you plan importing test cases from Sapphire Enterprise?
Very interesting question. Yes, we do. We want to support for Sapphire Enterprise. We want to support X-Ray. We want to support Qtest and bunch of other tools, so that we want to like make it seamless for teams switching from their existing offering to our offering. Yeah. There's a one on Gherkin format, Supratim, which has now come from Chris. Yeah, so I think BDD support is something, Chris, we have this in the pipeline ahead. I showed it also in the slide which Supratim was sharing. It's a super important and critical feature for QA teams out there, and it's just a matter of time that this is going to be there in your hands.
There is one around, can I create a new test run using an API?
Yeah, this again was in the roadmap thing, the last column. So API support, yes, it's going to come again very soon. You'll be able to like create test runs, schedule test runs, mark results also of those test runs. There's a question on UTrack integration by JetBrains. So UTrack, to be honest, we've not seen many feature requests coming in from customers, but happy to take this discussion offline and understand from Ekram that what are the challenges that they are facing right now in kind of tracking, UTrack kind of a project management with their current test case offering in case they're using one. And on a generic level, we want to give support to teams who are using tools other than Jira or Azure DevOps to be able to like link or give a URL to their respective issue. Right, that's a low-hanging fruit that is in the pipeline ahead.
Just going through the list of questions here, Ankur.
Yeah, so I think there's a question. So can you export test run result reports so it can be shared with the people not having access? Yes. Miroslav, I think this question is from you. Yes, this is in the roadmap ahead. We will let you export results, in different file formats like PDF, CSV, and then it will become easier for you to share it with folks around who may not have access to the tool.
I think we have again another on the GitHub integration, Ankur. Will the GitHub integration include the issue or project use as well?
Issues or project use as well. Okay, 1 second. I'm not sure if I understand the question correctly. But GitHub integration is definitely part of the roadmap ahead. You will be able to link a text execution with a exact GitHub kind of commit that has gone live, right, which resulted in that kind of test run. So that kind of integration we will have, and interestingly, this integration already exists in Test Observability product, which also talks to BrowserStack Test Management. So in case you are on any of these automation frameworks like TestNG, WebDriver.io, Mocha, Playwright, or Nightwatch, you can also use Test Observability. They already have built, we already have a GitHub integration which exists there.
All right. I think we're left with 5 minutes for this webinar. We'll probably take one or two questions. So there is one question, Ankur, on the access role, right? Is it feasible to create going forward view-only role in BrowserStack that would enable non-QA team members to view test results and QA team progress?
Yes, definitely, Supratim. We have plans to support a read-only license, read-only role for teams, which will give them the assurance that the data is not tampered and anyone accessing the tool is just having read-only access. It's going to be there.
All right. I think yeah. I think we do have a few more questions. Probably we'll get back to the audience. We just have a few more minutes left, and we'll just cover a couple of more sections. Thank you everyone for all those interesting questions. We've really loved the energy. Some of those questions, I think our experts have already responded